to this, and this is the much after I did the TNA rant, the much asked for WWE rant. Now, this will not have the same venom to it. That will not probably have a lot of the same passion to it, only because a lot of the things that are wrong with the WWE don't really aggravate. Well, I shouldn't say aggravate. Don't anger me to the same degree that things in TNA do. And I will get into that. However, I will let me say this right now. There probably will be. You saw the warning label. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go with this. I'm just going to kind of go with it. But I put up the warning label anyways. That said, if you think that John Cena is the only fucking problem with the WWE, and that if John Cena somehow went away, the WWE would be fixed and would be pleasant and would be oh so much better, then you turn off this video now, because that's not what this video is going to be about. Just to throw this out there, last 4 years in all of pro wrestling, we're not talking just WWE, we're talking the world of pro wrestling, you have John Cena and Mystico. Those are your two biggest draws, head and shoulders above everybody else. That's it. Nobody else. Sorry. Come again. Like it or not, that's it. So, his only real challenge to drawability is Mystico. And Mystico, you know, doesn't wrestle in this country for the most part, and wrestles for a promotion that most of us cannot watch. So there you go. Just throwing that out there. Now let's get started. My problems with the WWE. Of course, I did watch Raw, and Raw was Raw, as I would put it. My problems with Raw aren't that I have lots of problems with Raw, but the biggest problem I have with Raw is that it's overly scripted, in my opinion. It needs to be a little bit more free-flowing. It needs to be very, a lot more impromptu. It needs to be done in a way more similar to how classic Saturday Night Live was, where yes, things were scripted, but you always had something goofy happen, and that kind of made the show where you wanted to watch it, because you weren't really sure what you were going to see. And I think particularly with promos and skits, they could do a lot better with just telling the guys, okay, these are the points we want you to hit, and we're going to let you fill in the blanks. Than having these Hollywood guys who don't understand pro wrestling, are only here to get basically a paycheck. They think they understand pro wrestling because they watch the Attitude Era, and they don't understand the fine-tunedness of pro wrestling. So that is my biggest problem with Raw, because I think if you fix that and you basically let the guys go out there and kind of be themselves a little bit more, it would benefit the whole product a lot better. Now, other problems with Raw. I will go each kind of show to itself. The fucking Intercontinental Championship. Now, if you are a long-time WWE fan or WWF fan, you know that the Intercontinental Championship is supposed to be, if you hold that belt, you're supposed to legitimately be the #1 contender for the WWE title. That's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. Except, I don't think, you now have Regal having it, and Punk might have it, and then you might be able to argue that you finally have people that have it that look like they would be able to at least, you could maybe say they were #1 contenders. But, for the most part, I would say no. You know, guys that go for the Intercontinental title are usually considered mid-card guys, not even upper mid-card guys, just mid-card guys. And they are never allowed to look good, and this is a problem throughout the WWE, against upper card guys. A great thing to happen after the Royal Rumble. Let's say Punk wins the title, okay? Even if Regal keeps the title, whichever is the case. But let's say Punk wins it, because this is a little better scenario. Punk wins the title, right? So, wins the Intercontinental title. Cena still has his title, comes out. You have the whole, however the Royal Rumble works out, and people arguing. And then Punk walks out and says, hey, I got the Intercontinental title. This basically means I'm the #1 contender. I want my match tonight. I want to take on John Cena. And you have a match that normally you would not see on pay-per-view on Raw as the main event, Intercontinental title against John Cena. Makes sense, right? and you let them go at it, and you let Punk look good against Cena. You actually make it look like he belongs in the ring with Cena. You give them time, you let them put on the best match they possibly can, you give them all they need to put on the best match they possibly can, and you basically have Cena just barely ink out a win. So it looks like, hey, Punk is every bit as good as Cena, belongs in the ring with Cena, and you just have made the Intercontinental belt look good again. Now you have to continually book that title to look good, and that's something the WWE, I have no fucking confidence in that they will do. But that's something they need to do. You need to do the same thing with the world titles, with the tag team titles. They need to actually make those titles look important instead of just being titles that, the tag team division as a whole, in my opinion, is just there to help launch John Morrison into stardom. Once that happens, they're going to forget about the tag team titles again, and the tag team division again, even more than they already have, which doesn't even seem fucking possible, but they will. I have no doubt in that, and that's just the way it's going to be. And so and then you have the Divas, and what's really aggravates me about the Divas is if you actually took the women who can wrestle and wrestle well in the WWE, and you divided them among the two shows that have Divas wrestling, that you would basically have about five per show. Instead of what we have now where they get these women that look good, or generic looking on top of it, because there's just a generic blonde 2, generic brunette 2, generic brunette 3. I mean, it's like just generic shit. And throw them in, and if they can wrestle, they can wrestle, and if they can't, they can't. Oh well, we'll worry about it later. That's bullshit. Like I said, you could easily divide, the Divas out a little bit. So there is that. And that's my biggest problem with Raw. It's basically just the way they're structured. I think they can make things seem a little bit more important. I think they should focus a little bit more on the entire roster on Raw instead of just focusing on the main event, which is what they do. They don't really even focus on the main event. They really just focus on like the main guys, okay? And they don't try to make any major stars, which is another big problem with the WWE, is that for, basically, since Cena and Edge basically became megastars, you haven't had anyone really come up to that. I don't even think been able to give the chance to come to that next level, and that's a problem, and that's a big, huge monster problem that WWE needs to fix. They need to realize that, hey, we probably need 4 or 5 main eventers on Raw, we probably need 4 or 5 main eventers on SmackDown, and we probably need 3 main eventers on ECW, and they all need to look good, and they all need to look equally as good, i.e. the ECW guys need to look just as good as the Raw guys and the SmackDown guys, and so you have a better usage of your roster. You have this massive roster, and it's like they have no fucking idea how to use anybody on this roster but 12 guys. It's ridiculous in my opinion. But that's another problem I have with the WWE. Let's see. Then we'll get to that. Then we'll go to ECW. My biggest problem with ECW is basically the fact that one of the things I like about ECW is the fact that they don't seem to give a shit about ECW. I wish they would give a shit about ECW. Give it, Matt Hardy's nice. Give him, a couple more guys to actually be main event guys, to actually work with him, that people care about. Make them look like they're just as important as the guys on Raw, as the guys on SmackDown. Help the show, help everything be better. ECW is a good 1-hour show. I've said that before. Not everyone agrees with me. I don't care. There we go. And you have SmackDown. Basically, a lot of the same problems that Raw has, in that you have these select upper talented guys, and even Undertaker, even though I'm an Undertaker fan, but even Undertaker, and none of them are made to look good, or all of them are made to look head and shoulders above even the guys that should be just below them. Your whole roster would look so much better if everybody, yes, you need a pecking order. You need a pecking order so fans go, okay, this guy's better than this guy, this guy's better than this guy. That's fine. But you don't need to have this huge disparity between your upper level guys then you're true main eventers. You don't need this big disparity that you have currently in WWE, which hurts the product because you throw guys out there in matches that fans should care about, and they don't care about because they're just like, why should I care about this? This is some who cares guy against a star. I know who's going to win. Just get it over anyway. I'm just going to sit here on my hands. That's what you get, unfortunately, and it's not very fun and it's not very enjoyable, I don't think, to a lot of people. Though with SmackDown, unlike Raw, I think since SmackDown is taped, I think I think they can be more scripted and it be okay because they're taped and they're taped and they're taped. Them being on Friday doesn't help because I know a lot of people don't watch it because it's Friday and they're not in the habit of watching it, unlike Raw, which people are in the habit of watching. Let's see, what else do we have that's wrong with SmackDown? Basically the same thing with the U.S. title. It needs to actually seem important and seem like it is the #2 title on SmackDown. Same thing with the SmackDown tag titles. They need to seem more important. The Diva title needs, again, with the Divas on SmackDown, can't you at least just get 5 women on there that can wrestle on a consistent basis and look good in the ring so that people take them seriously? It amazes me, and particularly with the tag team stuff, because if you can go back and look, every time that an organization has been done, and I'm not saying it's because of this is why they're doing good, but it just, look, when they're doing good, their tag team division is hot. So I would think, why wouldn't you try to make your tag team division as hot as possible, as good as possible, as interesting as possible, if historically, when your company's been doing well, and every wrestling company's doing well, their tag team division has been doing well. Just a question, just wondering. I would like to know. But there's all of that. I've always I've complained about Triple H. I'll complain about Cena on this too. Triple H and Cena. There's no reason why they should just go through and bury people on television, on pay-per-views, anything like that. Even guys that are jobber guys. The only people that should truly have the true monster, no one can stand in the ring with me, I am superhuman strength personified type of people currently, I'm saying currently, are 3 people. Undertaker, Kane, because that is both part of their gimmicks, and Mark Henry, because he is supposed to be booked as a huge nasty monster. Those 3. When Umaga finally comes back from wherever Umaga has been, when he comes back, because he should have been back already, that's why I said that, he can be pushed like that too, because originally that's how he was pushed, and it worked, because you pushed him like that. And that's it. Triple H shouldn't just be roaring over people. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be, okay, we're going to end the match, now I'm going to end the match, I'm going to pedigree you. Make guys look good. Make the entire roster look good, because if the entire roster looks good, that way when, if you can make a mid-card guy look good and a mid-card guy looks like he actually belongs in the ring with an upper-card guy, then fans actually do start to believe that upsets can happen. And have some upsets happen. Have some actually upsets happen that are important, i.e. guys that are truly madly over losing to guys who are mid-card guys, even if it's, a heel pulling out a heelish victory over, John Cena, for example. Have that happen. That's the kind of stuff works. I have said this time and time again. Wrestling booking is not brain surgery. It's actually quite simple, and people just make it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. And the WWE does this a lot. And one of the biggest problems, my biggest bitch about the WWE, well, there's 2. And the first one is, and I said biggest bitch about WWE, and this fits, is Stephanie McMahon. And a lot of people go, well, she's not that bad. Well, everything you hear isn't good about her. And I will always fall to this. Look at the people that have, in the history of pro wrestling, there are 3 people who could not get along with either Jim Cornette or Paul Heyman. Now, a lot of people can't get along with both of them at the same time. A lot of people can only get along with one of them. But very few people that I can think of cannot get along with either of those 2 gentlemen. The first would be Bill Hurd, or not Bill Hurd. Is it Bill Hurd? I think it is Bill Hurd. whoever the guy from WCW was that pretty much tried to kill the company, him. Then you had Eric Bischoff, which, Eric Bischoff, very smart guy, but we all know his shortcomings, and again, and then you have Stephanie McMahon. Those are the only three people I know of that both Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman can't get along with either of them. That's not good. That is not good at all. That should be a red flag to people. Hey, why can't she get along with either of these two guys? Okay, why can't she get along with anyone that has a long time wrestling knowledge who isn't just kissing her ass? Why is that? That is a very big question. The other thing is, somebody please stand up to fucking Vince McMahon. Somebody look at him and go, this is a stupid fucking idea. This isn't what we need to be doing. We need to be doing this, because the business, much like in 1993, has passed you the fuck by. It has passed you by. It has gone, bye Vince, I'm going over here. I know you're not going to follow. If I ever see you again, that's nice. Later, boop, gone. That's what it's done. Okay? And someone needs to notify him of that. You don't believe me? You don't think that Vince and his little minions, the people that will not stand up to him, you don't think there's a problem? Realize this. John Laurinaitis brought in Taiki Morishima for a tryout for the WWE. Well, a lot of people probably already know this story, but some of you probably don't know this story. So I'm going to say it, because this is just boggles my fucking mind that this even happened. He brought him in with Harley Race for there to be a tryout. The thought of it being that Noah would loan him to the WWE. He would become a star in the WWE and then be able to go back to Japan and be even a bigger star. So that was the idea. So he shows up, right? Now most people who have watched my videos probably know who he is, know what his body type is. Apparently, nobody in the WWE knows what his body type was. They didn't know that he was, this big, I wouldn't say fat, well, large gentleman. Okay? I'll freely admit, Morishima probably, if he was wrestling the WWE schedule, probably would need to lose 20 to 30 pounds. Nothing wrong with that. I think everyone would admit that. But he comes in just so they can take a look at him. They all say the same thing. He came in out of shape, not even had seen him wrestle, but thought that he'd come in out of shape and wasn't taking his tryout seriously because of it. Okay. At that point in time, John fucking Laurinaitis needed to look at those people and say, tell you what, you think this guy's out of shape? When Raw's over, because I believe it was a Raw audition he got, when Raw's over, we'll clear the arena so no one can see. And Batista, you're about his same size. We're going to have you go in the match. We're going to have you go 30 minutes with this guy, and let's see who blows up first. Let's see. Let's have Triple H go out there. Let's see how long he can go with this guy, with this guy's pace. And let's see who blows up first. That's what Laurinaitis should have done, but he's too much of a pussy to do anything like that. Because that was utterly stupid. Stupid. Everyone had already made up their mind before they ever watched him wrestle. He went out there, apparently put on a very good match, but they decided he was too Asian and too fat, and so they didn't want anything to do with him. Then, that's not the only time this has happened. Then Laurinaitis brought in Go Shiozaki. Most people who've watched my videos probably have seen Go Shiozaki. If you don't, you can look him up on YouTube. Pretty talented guy. Vince said he was too Asian. Too fucking Asian. This is the guy that, if you have seen his matches, is one of the few guys that have come from Noah to ROH that actually gets the American style, knows how to work an American crowd, yet the motherfucker is too fucking Asian. What the fuck? And then people wonder what's wrong with the WWE. It's shit like this. It's the fact that they have people grading talent that have no fucking clue. Can we please get Jim Ross back at grading talent? Because he knows how to grade talent. I'm sure even in his old senile age, he can, and I'm sure that's what people think of him in the WWE, he can grade talent better than some of these fucks. And if John Laurinaitis is not going to stand up for himself and just be a little pussy, when he brings guys in and not champion the guys he brings in, why does he have his fucking job? I'm being serious. This is bullshit. That pisses me off about the WWE more than anything else. Stuff like that. And people say because you're marks for those two guys. I don't care. That's the way I see it. Because that makes no sense to me. That just shows people being absolutely fucking stupid and just going along with Vince to go along with Vince. And that's not what needs to happen. What needs to happen is someone needs to tap Vince on the shoulder and go, hey Vince, Did you notice? The wrestling business went way over there, and we're still over here. Maybe we need to go way the fuck over there where the wrestling business is. Just maybe. Okay? That's all I'm saying. You know, the problems with the WWE aren't like with TNA, where they're just so huge, slap you in the face problems that, you know, it's aggravating to watch. You know, they're like problems we've seen before. And like I said, I don't think the WWE's in the same position they were in 93, but I do think that the business has left them the same way it left them in 93. It hasn't gotten as bad as 93. I think if it got as bad as it had gotten in 93, they would have noticed and said, oh shit, the business is over there. Why aren't we over there with the business? It just amazes me to no end. Like I said, you know, to really get into, you know, all the problems with the WWE you'd have there, but that's the biggest thing is they have no idea how to use their talent properly. They have no idea how to build their fucking talent properly, and to actually make it look like all of the guys actually belong on the same stage with everyone else to some degree. I mean, yes, you have a pecking order, and I understand that, but not to the degree that it is used in the WWE. And just like I said, the Morishima thing just freaking amazes me. Someone needs to stand up to Vince McMahon and let Vince McMahon know the wrestling business has passed him by, because it has. It has passed him by, and you know, it's just kind of the way I see it. And like I said, Raw needs to be a little bit more impromptu than it actually is. Not even accounting when we talked about Raw, fucking Michael Cole. Will you get fucking Michael Cole off my fucking TV, please? I'm getting to the point, much like with TNA. When I watch TNA most of the time, I turn down the sound, because I do not want to hear those two fucks ruin matches for me, particularly if it's a good match. I don't want to hear Michael Cole. I don't. Can I please have Joey Styles? I understand you don't like Joey because Joey doesn't sound like JR. I don't give a fuck. I don't think most people give a fuck. I think they liked Jimmy. I think they liked him because Joey didn't sound like JR. And that was a good thing. Uniqueness, WWE, uniqueness is a good thing. It is a good thing. If a guy is small and is unique, that is a good thing. If a guy is a big and unique, that's a good thing. On both scales. You know, I'm not one of these people that comes on and usually gripes about the fact that WWE likes these big muscle-bound guys. I don't like that, because guess what? A lot of the fans like big muscle-bound guys too. That's just kind of the way it works. But anyways, that's all I have on that. Like I said, it's not as big as our rant as the TNA rant, only because the WWE just doesn't. I don't get as visceral about the WWE usually about a lot of things like I do TNA, because TNA is just mind-numbingly stupid to me. Where TNA just does, or where WWE often just does stupid things, and it's just the same stupid shit that we've seen over and over again. So it's like, I guess I'm more used to it. Anyways, that's it. I'm out. Have a good one. Later.